Pleasant good morning to one and all. Good Friday morning, I should say. Not Good Friday morning, Good Friday morning. You have to punctuate it properly because people might not understand what I'm saying. Welcome to this Makeup, a special episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Competence. Today is Friday, the 26th day of July, 2024. And here we are to bring you some more valid and credible information. You know, things are moving so rapidly in this land we call Guyana. The scandals are being revealed almost by the minute, and we have a responsibility to make sure that we come and we analyze and we bring the information to you. So yes, here we are today, Friday. And as you know too, we didn't have any program last week, Monday and Wednesday. And we promise you that we are going to make up whenever we can. So here we are today to give you this makeup program. And the program in itself, lots and lots of information, as you will come to see. Lots of learning will take place. My colleague, Mr. Conway, is already in the studio. He is perhaps even more anxious than I am to come and to bring you the credit, valuable information. And therefore, share the life. You know, today more than any other day, you have to share, you have to give the thumbs up today. Because of a lot of students, they have not been following the instructions and they have not been subscribing to the channel on YouTube. So they didn't get the notice yesterday when we decided that we're going to have a program today. And when we scheduled the program this morning about 7, they would not have gotten the notice either because they are recalcitrants. They have not subscribed, and therefore they're not getting the relevant notifications. On Facebook, you like the page, Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Competence, you're going to get a notification when we schedule a program, when anything is posted, or whenever we go live. So again, this morning, more than any other morning, if you are concerned about your fellow students, you are going to share this information, share the fact that we are on this morning, because we don't have the same number of students waiting in the schoolyard. It was a reduced number, not significantly, but it was nevertheless reduced. So you have a responsibility to share, let them know that we are on this Friday morning. I hope you're looking forward to a wonderful weekend. And some people can't look forward to any weekend. They're biting. They are in trouble, serious corruption. And we're going to tell you about it this morning. Corruption. And when you talk about corruption, the government, the vice president, the president, they tell you you must bring the evidence. You know, they're turning the thing upside down. You don't bring evidence. Allegations are made. And once allegations are made, you have to investigate the allegation to find the evidence, either to involved to get the people evidence against persons, or to clear their names. You have to investigate. You can't sit back and tell people bring the evidence. There's no evidence. That is not how it works. Perhaps only in Guyana they want it to work that way. So here we are this Friday morning, this blessed Friday morning, another day that the Lord has made, and we must rejoice and be glad in it. We must give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living. You know, I give praise and thanks every day. I tell you all, I'm not a Bible reading, church-going man who goes to church every day and so on, but I'm a believer, and I believe in doing the right. I believe in truth. I believe in justice. And things that are being revealed now will show God don't sleep, he ain't get pajama. All those wicked people did all those wicked things to me, Mr. Conway and others. Things are being revealed now. Things are being revealed, and more will be revealed. I know a lot more will be revealed. But it can't be kept down forever. It is not going to be kept down forever, and we're going to talk about that as we go on. Now, let me move on to tell you, we're going to do the roll call. Following the roll call, I'm going to make some announcements, and then we're going to go straight into it. Let me tell you something about the scheduling of this program this morning. The program was scheduled at exactly 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, I scheduled the program, and then normally once the program is scheduled, you see people start to come in the schoolyard right away. In other words, once the school gate open, people rushing to the schoolyard. But strangely this morning, I saw after 15 minutes, no one in. After 20 minutes, no one in the schoolyard. I suspect something wrong. And then one of our students reached out to me and asked me if the program was scheduled. I told that student yes. But then let me check, because half an hour had passed and no one had come into the schoolyard. I said something wrong. And when I checked, I realized I made a mistake and I did not schedule it on YouTube. So I corrected that. And as soon as I corrected that, the first two students in were they're Mary from Brooklyn and Joan. I think Joan is from NA New Amsterdam. They came in at 7:36. But I knew something was wrong when I did not see students coming in. Then it was Aubrey from Canada. He was followed by Orin from the UK. After Orin, it was Allison. Then out of the UK, it was Wayne Liddell, another regular from the UK. Then Vibert. Vibert came in here this morning at 7:38. I know today, Vibert, is your special day. Today is Vibert's birthday. And we want to wish him well on his birthday today. Then we had John, the original black man, came in there. Then Melissa, Rhonda, this is Rhonda Chance. And after that, we have Mr. G. Then Evelina, and the man from Peters Hall, Anthony Bradshaw, came in. After Anthony, it was Debbie. She's from Providence and the East Bank of Demerara. Then it was Ezzy, followed by Danny. Then Gavin. Gavin came in 14929. I like when people are proud to mention the number, even though the number big and heavy. And if you fall overboard with it, you are likely to suffer some serious consequences. Them big number, 14929. Jackie. Then we had Earl. That was Theodore. Then Karen, Claremont, Ronald, Richard. Then Rastaman is here. Then we had Rohan. Rohan came in 12863. Not as big as Jakey, but still a big number. Still a big number. Them 5 number that they have. And then we have Cranston came in. Not a big number, 15837. Marcus, Sean, welcome. Then the man from Linden, the man from the hills in Linden, Ballhead, he came in at 8:35. Then he's from Florida. Tessa from Florida. Then we have Duan. Then we have Pito from Queens, New York. Then it was Randolph. I can't recall seeing this person before. Randolph, how it's from Hannes. Then it was Patricia Wren. And it was Mandela Gandhi. Mandela, we missed you in class. It was then Wayne. And Umi came next at what? 9:06. Then it was Donna Wilson. Donna is Donna Wilson, but you see the comments there. Ex-Sergeant 0540, Glendon Wilson in the schoolyard. I know Glendon well. He served with me. We worked together in Namibia. On the last program I told you, I spent some time with the UN in Namibia, 1989-90. Glendon was one of the ranks there with me. Then we have my squaddy from Canada, Doreen, W349. There, them number 349, light number. Then it was Felicia, Cecile, out of the UK, Sharon. Then we had Anthony Jarvis, Fergus Kamabaj. Then it was Charles Thorne, Kerry from Maryland is here, George, Clarence, Corinne, Vibert from the East Bank of Demerara. Then it was Daniel, 15847, he from Linden as well. Then this is a new name, Tony Christmas from Hokaloma. Welcome, my brother. Then we had Devian Marva. Can't recall seeing this person before, but welcome. Then it was Machu. Then Neville, Malcolm, it's Malcolm Robinson, Patricia Jr., then Bert, Barbara, Howard, Charles, BX, the one and only BX 9407. Then it was Connolly, Monica. After Monica, Richard. Then Chilo, Rich Forever Chilo was here. He came in at 1028. Then we have Dwayne. I can't recall Dwayne before. Dwayne. Then it was Vibert Lawson. He came in then. After Vibert is Floyd again. Then you have Orville. Then it was Ian Lucius from Maryland. Then Leon Gibbons. Leon is the old police. He is from Brooklyn. Sydney is here. The secretary, Denise, came in. Then it was Philip, William, Roxanne, Lucky. Lucky, I can't recall seeing Rocky in the schoolyard before. Welcome, my sister. Then it was Oral, Lorraine, Lyndon, Ulrich, Dorrit. Then it was 12538 Junior. And then a man who had missed at least the schoolyard, Kurowashi, came in. And then L. Ben. Leslie Ben was the last man in on YouTube. He came in at 10:58. And then when we went live on Facebook, Edward is always right up there when we come in on Facebook. Then it was Elvis, Orin. Then we have Tessa. Just another Tessa. Commissioner Cole is here. Jason. Then we have Kibarn, Charles, Bonita, Abdun from the Essequibo Coast, and the list goes on and on and on. And as I've said, even though today, Friday, is not a regular scheduled day, we have lots of students in. Let me see, hundreds already on the live. And I want you to share, and give us the thumbs up. Share. We're going to, I'm sure by the next hour or so, lots more students, many more students will pour in to the classroom. So welcome, one and all. As I said, share. Let them know that we are on this morning. This is not a regular morning. It's a makeup morning. So many people would not be aware, especially those who have not subscribed to the channel or liked the page on Facebook. Now, let me, again, we start off once we do the roll call. Let me remind you that today is the funeral of Anthony Rigby, right? Anthony Rigby, Mark Anthony Rigby, 12769 cricketer. He died recently. He's going to be buried today, and the funeral, Sandy's Funeral Home viewing from 1 p.m. Funeral service thereafter, and burial at the Laplantier Cemetery. I know many of the ranks here, many of the policemen here, older one in particular, who are around, will want to go and pay their respects. And then we also, I did announce the death of Dane Andrew Bowen, who is the son of a regular student, Princess Earl. His funeral is today as well, and he will be viewed at the Lycan Funeral Home from 12:30 to 1:30. And then there is a funeral service in Kitty. I can't remember the exact place, but in Kitty. And then the burial will take place at Bachelor's Adventure. And we regret to announce the passing recently of the death of the mother of retired Assistant Commissioner of Police, Gavin Primo. We learned that Gavin's mother died not so long ago. I want to take this opportunity again to express condolences to the relatives, friends of all those deceased persons, and we hope that the deceased rest in peace and rise in glory. Now for the up here announcements. Today, as I indicated earlier, is the birthday of Vibert Smith, 7464, I think is the number. He is on the live, and happy birthday to you, Vibert. I wish you all the best. Hope you have long life, health, strength, prosperity, and that you see many more birthdays. Smithy, as he's known to us, very, very affable, very, very experienced ex-detective. And then the birthday today of another ex-detective, my squad mate, 9370, Wayne Amsterdam. He is celebrating a birthday today. Also celebrating a birthday today is the one and only Raul George, who I'm not sure if he's on today, but now he's a regular on the program. Raul is celebrating his birthday today. And we have some recent birthdays, belated birthday greetings to retired Sergeant Melis, 5655. 5655 Melis, I remember Melis very well, Monkey Mountain, and then later the TSU. He's celebrating a birthday today, I was informed. And we have ex-detective George, 8727. George, Melis is recently, George is recently as well. And then I understand that ex-female detective Jasmine Benson, 15366, she celebrated a birthday recently too. So I want to, again, belated birthday greetings to those who celebrated recently, and hope that you have you had a wonderful day, and I wish that you live to see many more birthdays. So let me the board day, and then what we have? Oh, cricket is going on. Cricket is going on. Jakey is here as a cricketer. Ulrich like the game. See, West Indies had a good start, and then they had a collapse, and then they have recovered, and they are fighting there. We got to see. We want to see them fight. We want to see them fight. And before I bring in Mr. Conway, let me tell you, I got to congratulate the guys from the Guyana National Rifle Association. They are in England now at the Bisley competition. And the award came. And let me play. I got a short tape to play. Then I'm going to explain a little later, shortly after rather. And listen to this carefully, folks. Listen to this thing from people guys to be proud of. Listen.
And the winner of the 2024 Junior Collar 4 is Guyana. 554 with 89.
Yeah, that was a competition in England this morning. What it's named the Junior Collar 4 4-man team. Guyana, I think Peter Prasad, Dylan Fields. We had Sharwin Felician and Roberto Tiwari. I think those were the four, coached by Lennox Braffett and I think Ryan Sampson. They won the Junior Collar 4. That's a very prestigious trophy, team trophy in England. And I was reminded this morning of an incident many years ago when I coached that team for that same competition. For those who know about rifle shooting, the conditions are 2 sighting shot and 10 rounds to count at 300, 500, and 600 yards. Sorry, 1 sighting shot and 10 rounds to count. Normally, in our competitions, it's 2 and 10, but in this competition, it's 1 and 10. I knew that, and I went down and I started to coach with the understanding it's 1 and 10. But one of the shooters, Mr. Fields, the late Fields, who was down for us, when he fired the first shot and he got a bull, and I decided I'm going to convert that, he told me that no, you can't convert because normally you convert after the second sighting shot. So it was a little confusing, but at the end of the day, as luck would have it, all 4 shooters, 4 shots went into the bull, and we did not suffer adversely because of that. So to hear that Guyana this morning won the Junior Collar 4 team shoot in England, it's a great achievement. And I hope they are given the necessary recognition. You know, rifle shooting in my blood, even though I have not shot, shooting as a whole, rifle, pistol in my blood. I have not shot competitively in a while, but I was overjoyed when I got the news this morning. So yes, they are representing Guyana very well. And let me say this, without any fear of contradiction. I know some people from squash and them going to want to say otherwise. There's no other team that represents Guyana that has done Guyana so proud in the past maybe 10, 20 years. There's not a single competition that team, the Guyana team, rifle team, would go to and not collect multiple medals. But you know, shooting is not a spectator sport, so they don't get the necessary recognition. But they have been doing outstandingly well over the years. I understand today too that Lennox Braffett, who is there with that team, qualified for the second stage of the King's competition. That is the most prestigious individual competition shot in 3 stages. You start off at 300, 500, and 600 yards with 2 sighting shot and 7 rounds to count. And the top 100, that competition will have like about 1,400, 1,500 entrants. And the top 100 will move forward to the top 300, move forward to the second stage. And then the top 100 move off to the final stage. So Braffett is in the top 300 into the second stage. I think by now that would have been concluded. I have to reach out to them to find out how well he did. And then the final, which is the main thing tomorrow, is 900 and 1,000 yards, 2 sighting shot and 15 rounds to count at 900 and 1,000 yards. That is what separates the boys from the men. Separates. Well, I shouldn't say that, the boys from the men, because the champion to the in this year's competition, the winner of the Grand Aggregate, is a female, Coley Evans. I know Coley, she came to Guyana some years ago to shoot, and she is one of the persons who won the Queen's title some years ago. Now is the King's title. So congratulations again to them, and I wish Braffett all the best. Let me bring in CC. CC, welcome.
Welcome. Good morning Thanks to be in the land of the living, to do God's work. Congratulations to Vibert Smith, 7464. I cannot forget that number. I remember when I went to Myconi as a recruit out of training school, there's a man took me in hand. He's in charge of the CID, and he taught me a lot of CID work, how to take statements, how to write up the crime book. I remember once, there was a murder, and he took me to the scene to take some statements. And there were several persons who said they didn't know anything. And he said, "Can we take the statements?" And I took the statements, and then afterward, I said, "Man, we wasting government stationery. If they say them, I know them, I know." He said, you got to learn this work. That is something called negative statements. That you got to take the statements whether they say they know, whether they deny it. That later on, they can't come and change your mind. So if I bought and even then, when I got transferred, I went to Region 1, Mabrumo. I knew more work than the detective corporal who was there, and I was a constable. But this based on what Smith taught me. So thank you very much, Vibot. We spoke this morning, and I know that you have a wonderful day, and you have many, many more candles to blow out, although you're not a blow man. Score 213 to 5. Holder and Braffett, Holder and De Silva nearing to their 50s.
Well, that's some good news to complement the news about the Guyana Rifle Association. And I see Sean asked him about warmers. You don't get warmers there. Once you go down, the sighting shots. The two sighting shots are warmers. Technically, you have two sighting shots are warmers. But with the new rule, if your two sighting shots, you did well with the two sighting shots, you can convert them to actually scoring shots. So if you fire, let's say the maximum point is 5 for every shot. And 5 is 5, and the most sensible is a V. So let's say you fire the first sighting shot, you get a 5. You get a 5. And then the second sighting shot, you get a V. You can convert either both of those sighting shots or the V alone and continue going. So if you, for example, get bad shots on those two first sighting shots, then you don't convert them. You just continue and you start your count from 1 to 10. So there's a little bit of lesson on full-bore rifle shooting, one of the most challenging and precise sports in the world. Test your discipline, test your skills, test your temperament, test your honesty. You have to be honest to shoot. Now, the next thing I wanted to tell you this morning is that Wednesday I reported to you that I had a date with the court on Tuesday, and having waited and waited and waiting, I didn't hear anything. And then later on, I was advised that the case did not call and that county magistrates were in training, and that the date will be communicated. That is the trumped up sexual assault charge, 3 charges against me, sexual assault. I want y'all read my email this morning, I'm going to see something about it. And I got word this morning that the matter is now scheduled for the 20th of August this year. So the 20th of August, I have a court date. And to tell you again, it's for report. Trial 3 years, 158 days, and we can't go no place. 3 days, 158 days since the charge was instituted on the 19th of May, 2021. And it is alleged that this incident took place on the 26th, the 29th of March, 2019, and the 2nd of April, 2019. That is what it is. As I said, I can't go into details, but that is public information. That's nothing to prejudice the case. But that is what it is. I'm looking forward anxiously to that. Now, the first matter I want to deal with CC. This CC, recently the police have found a lot of guns, too many guns in the town. I think one of the first find recently, they said was a pink suitcase under some zinc sheet where they found assault rifles, AK-style rifles and other firearms. Then one in some abandoned house, the next one in an abandoned house. There's the police and canoe. And then 2 days ago, we saw, or it was yesterday, 2 days, we saw police carry out an intelligent-led operation in Kitty, where they recovered 26 firearms and an assortment of ammunition. 26 firearms, Glock, different assortment of Glock pistols and other pistols and so on. what really going on in this country called Guyana. And while these firearms are being found, first of all, I have issue with the police telling you that they went on an intelligent-led operation. All operations should be intelligent-led. All operations should be intelligence-led. So, but the mere fact that you're telling us that you went on an intelligence-led operation, I am concluding that you go on operations that are not intelligence-led, and that is rubbish. But that is a corporate communication unit, intelligence-led operation the police went on. Then they found all of these guns. In the last case, persons were arrested. In one of the previous cases, I think Kanu, it was, put out a bulletin for a man, and he turned himself in. That is what is reported in the media. I am hoping, first of all, let me say this. With the firearm in the house and the one in the suitcase, the pink suitcase under the zinc sheet, the police went there and they recovered the firearm. And, I was taken aback because I'm saying that if you got information about this, you would want to know who the persons are that put them there. And therefore, rather than running on and picking it up and carrying it away, that you would perhaps mount an operation. This is where you have to mount an intelligent operation to make sure that the persons who are responsible are caught. I would have thought that would have been the correct thing to do, but apparently no. But in this last operation, they said that a man was caught. He had a bag with an assortment of weapons, and then the car was outside the home. They searched the car, and they found the whole set of firearms. I am hoping that they are doing proper investigation, including forensic on those weapons, to get DNA, to get fingerprint, to see if they connected to any other crime. Getting these weapons and accusing someone of being in possession of the weapon, you're going to charge you, you go to court. If the investigation is not properly done, and if you don't have the evidence to support the allegation, then chances are the people are going to walk. We don't want them to walk, so I'm just saying that you need to make sure, have you investigated to find out where these weapons are coming from? This is alarming. The number of firearms that have been found in ammunition recently is very, very alarming. And I would have thought that proper investigative work, well, I hope that proper investigative work is being done so that we can find out who are the persons responsible. What is the purpose of these high-powered and other firearms coming into the country? And at one stage they said, I got to teach because they said they found small arms. Not small arms. For those of us who know about gun, when you talk about small arms include some machine guns, general purpose machine gun, rocket launchers, and those type of things. Those are all classified as small arms. I have the book on small arms of the world. One of these days, when I remember, I'm going to present it to either the library. I think I have more than one. Some people can read. Things like grenades, grenade launchers, all of those things are considered small arms. So you have to be more specific. If you're talking about a handgun, you're talking about handgun. If you're talking about a revolver, it's a revolver. If you're talking about a semi-automatic rifle, which is different from an automatic rifle, and there's no semi-automatic machine gun, as the police corporate communication unit had said some time ago. So yes, kudos to the police and Kanu for recovering those firearms, but I hope that they are doing much more than just recovering the firearms. They are taking necessary steps to make sure that the persons who are responsible for bringing those firearms in the country are dealt with according to the law. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to talk about this firearm thing, and then we're going to move on. CC, your comments on the recovery of these firearms.
Too many guns in the tongue. But happy that they are recovering, and I wish to congratulate them for recovering. But then, just like you, I was wondering, here's it in the pink suitcase, you're talking about intelligence-led policing, and they find it in some alleyway. Couldn't they stake out somewhere? Couldn't they in one of the situations somewhere? They said they get cameras, safe city. The safe city will, according to the president, will replace boots on the ground. Couldn't they do some more work? Sometimes we too quick to, or sometimes we jump in the gun. Yeah? They need more sometimes to do some more proper work. You remember the U.S. with the Mom's case, 2.5 years. So don't rush certain things. And then we got to look in terms of how we're gonna present them in court. The chain of custody. Yeah? And you mentioned, Paul, about forensic. Do you check for fingerprints? Do you check for other forensic evidence for them? And then there's something called possession, actual and constructive possession. Actual, you have it in you. Constructed, you have it elsewhere under your control. And then the mental aspect of possession, where you know of the existence, and you intend to treat it as your own. So a whole lot of things that they need to do proper intensive investigation, meticulous investigation in terms of identifying those weapons, in terms of checking for fingerprint and others, and other evidence, and look at the chain of custody, so that when you present your case in court, it is probably presented. And don't tell me like when I had in Borbies, where the ballistic man couldn't remember the gun number. So you got to look at all those things. He couldn't remember the gun number, and the man walked free.
Well, yes, not only the ballistic man board. If you recall that case with a young lady who was charged, I think it was for attempt murder of the police outside of Cosmos. When a senior officer, very senior officer, now he's sitting down there, operations. The man at operations now, when he was given evidence in court, he omitted to mention the letters in front of the actual numbers. The letters form part of the serial number, and the evidence he didn't. In giving his evidence, he omitted that. When the lawyer cross-examined him, he mentioned all sorts of crap about he made a mistake, and he's only human, and he just guarded all sorts of things. Senior man in the witness box said so. And of course, I wasn't surprised when the matter was dismissed against the young lady, because apparently Jackie Opel visited. And CC, you're making a very important point about possession, because in the last case, they claimed that some of these firearms were found in a car that was parked outside of this particular residence. So it's not actual possession. You're talking here now of constructive possession. How do you prove that a person who is likely to be charged had control, even if the person is the owner of the car? We are saying these things not to ridicule, but to point out that all of these things have to be taken into consideration. And that is why we say, in a case like this, forensic, you have to get fingerprint and all of those type of things in addition to what you have. All of these things have to be done. Chain of custody is important. Everybody holding, everybody handling it, go here and it go here, and then questions are asked. Then you're going to have things like serial number. You can't go in the box like the officer and omit a digit or a letter, because once you omit a digit or a letter, you're speaking about a different firearm. So let me understand that. And then these things are recovered. Hope they are stored properly. Exhibits are known to disappear. Only recently at Alberton Police Station is an allegation that a firearm that was an exhibit in the case disappeared, and a firearm that was lodged to safekeeping disappeared. It is said that the person who owned the firearm was called and he was given a letter to go and get the next firearm. And when the man inquired about who's going to replace the one, they said, look, if you want it replaced, you might got carry the police to court, and that's going to take a long time and all these type of things. So, yeah, you're recovering, but you got to make sure you have safe custody. In addition to that one at Alberton, I got information that another firearm lodged by someone for safekeeping at another station has also disappeared. So you got to make sure that these things are done. And giving back the man a letter to get a new firearm. What happened? Are you going to try to determine who is the person that thieved this gun? Because if a gun is missing from a property room, police property room, it got to be police who thief it. It has to be a police, either the thief it to sell it to somebody or the thief it to get it. And let me warn these people who lodge your firearm and then it's missing, and then the police will tell you that, all right, the commissioner gave a letter for go get back an next firearm. Be careful. Be extremely careful, because the next thing you know, the firearm that is lost, it found or traced to a crime scene, and then the records will show that it's you firearm, be extremely, extremely careful. Word of caution to you people. A word of caution. So yes, again, finding these guns is a very progressive step, for which the police and CANU and all of those must be complimented. But the matter should not end with just the recovery of the guns. You have to do much, much, much more investigation, not only to get a conviction, but to find out the source of these firearms. It is very, very alarming, very, very worrying. And you have to do work to make sure that you can deal with this, get to the root of this. That does make nice because, you know, a next worrying thing, let me tell you, is that back some time ago, most of the illegal firearms that were found were Taurus brand, the Taurus brand. And we know that Taurus was manufactured in Brazil. So the assumption was that these things are coming across the border. But when you hear about Glock, when you hear about other brand names of firearms, they are not made in Brazil. I don't think so. So that should give you even more reason to try to see how these things are getting into the country, how they're passing through. Are they coming through the official ports in barrels or what? Are they coming across the border? You have to do work to find this out. You have to do work, proper intelligent work to find this out. So let's understand this. Now moving on, there's an issue that I want to clarify. I'm going to bring Mr. Conway in on this as well. Now, the police, I see they complain on social media, ranks who are performing extra duty are complaining that the 25% of their extra duty is withheld by the police administration for the welfare fund. And for those of you who know extra duty, for example, you get cricket, police got to work at cricket, extra duty, people get some sport, some dance, some one of those stink and dirty show, police have to work. Policemen and women are paid extra duty for that. They have other work, escorts and so on, you pay extra duty. Now the arrangement is, this is the official arrangement I'm telling you about. Policemen, listen up. All extra duty monies, all, should be paid into the police finance office. They have to be entered into the record, and then the rank or ranks who perform the duty are going to be paid their money. Now, I know you got a lot of shenanigans taking place where men go on extra duty and they're collecting money from the entity right there and there. That is wrong. That is not the arrangement. Now, the extra duty fee, by the rates of extra duty, according to rank, constable, corporal, sergeant, inspector, officer, senior officer, that is determined by the police force. Many years ago, when Larry Lewis was the commissioner, I sat in a meeting, people like retired Deputy Commissioner Wills, I recall, was there. And the commissioner said that, look, the extra duty charge was nothing for these ranks. And that was true because even people working private security services were getting a better rate. And we made a decision that we were going to increase the extra duty rate for every level. So constable, lance corporal, same rate, sergeant, inspector, different, we set up a scale. Now, Larry Lewis, a very forward-thinking commissioner, felt that the police welfare fund should benefit from any such arrangement. Not only the ranks who go on the actual duty, but the welfare fund should benefit. So all ranks in the force can benefit. And therefore, listen to this carefully, a decision was taken that in addition to the rates charged, which was payable to the rank, so let's say, for example, it was agreed that a constable will get $100 an hour. A decision was taken that the entity will be made to pay an extra 25%, which will then go to the welfare fund for the benefit of all the ranks. So in effect, that 25% is not money coming from the rank, it's a money from the entity that you did the escort with, paid into the welfare fund so that the entire police force, all the ranks, can benefit. And I don't need to explain to you what the welfare fund, the mere name welfare will tell you what it is for. So ranks apparently are not well aware of this, and they say that 25%, I saw something I read on social media, so I say it is important that this be explained. It's not your 25%. The 25% comes from the entity that you performed the escort with to go to the welfare. Of course, the arrangement is that they're going to pay, the entity and know, the entity and know they're paying it to the welfare fund. So if Slow perform duty and you get $100, the entity is charged $125. And the 25 goes into the welfare and Slow gets the $100. That is the arrangement. So I hope it clarifies, because policemen are complaining bitterly that they're taking out 25% from the money. That's not accurate. The 25% is an extra charge to the entity. And I know this very well, because when I was the officer in charge of the tactical service unit, which at that time was the unit that performed the most extra duty, escorts, gold board, and all of these things. That is what they do. TSU extra duty is all around. You went to OMI, you went to all those interior locations to guard. It's extra duty, and the ranks are paid, and that was the arrangement. I remember well with the gold board, was TSU alone performing duties as a gold board. And it got to the stage where I felt it wasn't being properly done, because, and I changed it. I made sure that ranks did not work over a particular number of hours, because it's extra duty. I discovered that ranks will go there and they will work 24 hours, 36 hours, and all of that, all because they were thinking about the money. I stopped that. And then I implemented only the ranks who were performing credible and well can go on an extra duty. So if it is that you get cheated, you're always late and you're sick, no, you can't get extra duty. You cannot. Extra duty was an incentive to those ranks who were performing. And then I did something that was revolutionary at that time. The ranks from the general office and the ranks of police finance office were made to benefit from that, including female ranks. I remember representation was made. You have female single mothers at general office and police finance office, and they asked if they can be allowed to put in an extra 4 hours at weekend or 8 hours weekend to get some money, and I agreed. I approved it. So those things are there. So that is what this extra duty thing is all about. Let me bring in Mr. Conway for him to perhaps have something, if he has anything to say on this. CC?
I remember the arrangements, and I remember very clearly with Larry Lewis, and the 25% really coming from the person, not the policeman's money. That that the entity had to pay the extra 25% without they even knowing that that going into welfare. But perhaps the system has now changed. I don't know, but that was the position, that 25% goes to the welfare fund, the same fund that they lick up and they broke up.
Yeah, we heard a lot about the decimator of the welfare fund, and that's why we said this investigation that we're talking about into financial impropriety have to extend to all of those things. Can't be limited to this $16.5 million alone. A lot more is being talked about. Now, let me say this. I got a shock yesterday. It was yesterday, yesterday, when I read something that says here, let me read the caption to you. Government uneasy with levels of crime, violence in Guyana. That's what Nandalal, the Attorney General, Anil Nandlal, SC, MP, is reported to have said in the on issues in the news, this Kaito News yesterday. Government uneasy with levels of crime, violence in Guyana. I got the impression all the time from reading all the statements from the government, from the police I command, that crime was under control, and they were telling people crime down by so much degree, so much percentage, and all of that. That is what they were telling us. So to hear Tuesday night, couple nights ago, the Attorney General saying that the government is uneasy with levels of crime and violence in Guyana caught me by surprise. And let me read part of the thing that he said. The Attorney General Anil Nandlal on Tuesday, during his weekly episode of Issues in the News, said that the ranks of the Guyana Police Force are constantly being trained, but the government of Guyana is uncomfortable with the levels of crimes and violence seen in the country. And he's quoted, we are constantly training our police officers to make them better qualified and better suited to deal with crime and criminality in the country. More forensic approaches to investigations are being pursued. End of quote. Nandalal told listeners on his Facebook show. He further stated that, quote, the government is not comfortable with the level of crime and violence in the society, and that is no secret. Well, it's a secret to me. We have repeatedly accepted that fact, and we are assiduously working to address the situation. End of quote. Nonetheless, I highlighted that there's a number of pieces of legislation that the government will be passing, but legislations are not the singular remedy that can comprehensively and successfully address this problem. We have to have a multifaceted approach, so we will take to the Parliament shortly a bill that will increase penalties for different categories of offenses. End of quote. Traffic offenses, he said, will be attracting a higher penalty since in Guyana there continues to be an unacceptable rate of road fatalities, and the government has been passing a menu of statutory provisions intended to address this matter. Quote, he's quoted as saying, we have introduced the offense of motor manslaughter. We have introduced a regime of disqualification of driver's license. We have introduced a regime that addresses drunken driving, driving in a comprehensive way, the AG explained. Now we got to say some other stuff and so on. But I was taken aback by this. I was carried, the impression one gets when they come out with the propaganda is that crime is under control. There's nothing to be worried about. That is what he's saying. Well, you know, let me analyze this thing about the legislation. The number of pieces of legislation the government will be passing, but legislations are not the singular remedy that can comprehensively and successfully address this issue. I agree. He said we have a multifaceted approach, so we will take to Parliament shortly a bill that will increase penalties for different categories. Now, the most worrying category of crime is felony murder. Like you had a couple of days ago, man, I think it's West Demerara, people go into his house to rob him, end up killing the man. That's what they call a felony murder. A felony murder is a murder committed in the act of another crime. So you went to rob, you kill, felony murder. But the penalty for felony murder is death. So where are you going to increase death from, Attorney General? You already have on the books death for felony murder. So when you're going to increase this penalty, what are you increasing it to? To death 2 times? They're going to kill you 2 times? You're going to hang this? Well, you don't hang now, because even though it's on the book, the last execution was sometime back in the 90s. So tell us, pray tell us, what are you going to increase the death penalty to? From death to what? From death to what? And then he goes on to say about traffic offenses, attracting higher penalty, another set of piecemeal measures. He says here that they've introduced the offense of motor manslaughter. How many persons have been charged with motor manslaughter since the introduction of that legislation over a year ago? We understand the one who had killed the policewoman in front of Bedford Police Station, he was charged with motor manslaughter. My information is that at some stage that was reduced to causing death by dangerous driving. So, Attorney General, police, traffic chief, and others, tell us how many persons have been charged with motor manslaughter. It doesn't make sense you're going to Parliament and you're changing these laws and you're not taking any action. Tell us. I know about one. Maybe there are more. And as the one that I told you about, the man who had a previous cause in death. Because for those of you who don't know, let me educate you according to the new law, amended. If you are involved in an accident which results in the death of anyone, and at the time you were under the influence of alcohol to such an extent as to be incapable of controlling a vehicle, instead of the usual or the normal causing death by dangerous driving, you're going to be charged with motor manslaughter. That was the legislation. And then the first such case was a case on the East Coast where that policewoman was killed. You saw those graphic and disturbing photographs that had been dismembered on the roadway. That man was charged with motor manslaughter. I don't know about any other. And my information some time ago said that during one of the airings, the matter was reduced to causing death. Because I said then, and I'm saying again, that if you are going to charge someone with motor manslaughter, given the law, the first hurdle you have to, first barrier you have to jump, the first hurdle is to prove that the person was under the influence of alcohol at the time of the accident. And I say then, and I repeat now, that you only use the breathalyzer for the person to blow in to determine the amount of alcohol in the system, that ain't gonna stand up. That is not going to stand up in any court. Any two-bit liar is going to deal with that and get rid of the case. And if that goes, let me understand it clearly, if that aspect of the case falls through, you can't prove that the person was under the influence of alcohol at the time, then the motor manslaughter case gone. The motor manslaughter case cannot succeed. And then he talk about disqualification. We have introduced a regime of disqualification of driver's license. How many persons have been disqualified since the introduction of this legislation? You see, they come on these programs with their propaganda and they talk all sort of rubbish, right? But you have to analyze it deeply. Don't come, when was this legislation introduced to disqualification? And tell us since then how many persons have been disqualified. Don't come and tell us what you introduce. It's got to introduce legislation, but to introduce without enforcement, you're wasting time. You're wasting time, even wasting the air that you breathe when you go there to talk on this program. Issues in the news. So that is what you have. I don't even think they have a traffic code. They talk about the traffic ticket. They don't have a proper system with traffic ticket. And I maintain that if you want to address the traffic situation, I'm going to deal with traffic exclusively next week on one of these programs, right? Or not exclusively, in more detail. You have to make sure that you address the root cause of the problem. The root cause of the problem, in my view, is the driver's license and everything you have to look at. How a person acquires a driver's license. We are aware of corruption in the system. There's another part of the corruption in the system where people are paying to get their driver's license. And they don't want to address that, maybe because fingers will be pointed at senior government functionaries. And we have said repeatedly here that if you are going to address the out of control traffic situation, you have to address it in a comprehensive manner, not a little piecemeal thing here. You introduce motor manslaughter, or you introduce a disqualification, or you're going to put cameras on that is piecemeal. And I predict that that is not going to affect what is going on in a positive way. It is not. You have to deal with the issue in a comprehensive manner, all the corruption, driver's license, and even last week, Minister of Home Affairs ropes men at the symposium by the police talking about right or left. And we know what that means, right or left. People allege that police stop you on the road, they ask you right or left. In other words, should they write a ticket or you going to left something? That is what is there out there. Those things have to be addressed in a proper way. But I suspect it can be addressed if you get senior people accused of money, financial impropriety. They themselves at the top there taking left, right, and center. That is the allegation. That is the allegation. $100 and something million found in a man's office. And he says from hard work. And I made the point that I don't know what is the salary of an assistant commissioner now. I guess it's around $400,000, $500,000. But if you were to add up all the salaries earned by that individual since he joined the police force, if he did not spend a single cent, can't come up to $100 and something million. So it's corruption. And if corruption is there at the eye level, because they're bike on the road, you hear they're taking a little Granger. For those of you who don't know Granger was the former president and the party color was green. The Guyana largest denomination is $5,000, which is green. So when people talk to you about a Granger, it's a $5,000 bill they're talking about. So when people decide that, look, I'm going to left a Granger, and don't get me wrong, I am totally against corruption. Whether it's a 1 cent, whether it's a $1, $5, I against corruption. But when you have licking down a man for collecting a Granger, and when they have the collecting, alleged to be collecting $1.5 million for firearms, and man that on there, all sort of corrupt practices, those things are not being addressed. Where you expect things to go? Let me bring in Mr. Conway at this stage, man. You got to get some of this button. See, the Attorney General says that government uneasy with levels of crime violence in Guyana. That's what Nandalal said. What are your views, my brother?
All right, before that, we talk about this 25%, and we mentioned that it was deposited in the welfare fund. We have some very bright and experienced students, and I got a couple of calls whilst you were talking where they're saying that, hey, they had a special account. They called it the 25% fund. So it went in. It wasn't going in into the welfare fund. It was going in into the 25% fund, just as they on a driver package where they have a fund. So they had separate funds. So thanks for the correction from those bright students. Now, let me try to put this Nandalal story into proper context. And it has its genesis during the awards ceremony. And here is what Hicken mentioned, the extended squatter. He was talking about the crime stats. And I'll talk a bit more about the crime stats. Here we're saying, we are currently experiencing a 19% reduction in serious crimes, thanks to the presence of 361 community policing groups across our regional divisions, intelligence-led policing methods, such as crime mapping and predictive analysis, and the use of drones, body cameras, and CCTV for real-time surveillance and hotspot management. This we're talking about in terms of the 18.9% reduction in serious crimes, and I get a serious crime. And shortly after, then gleefully announced, talking about the decrease. I think that is almost a third or fourth year running that we reduce it by 20% each year. We have been able to get good results. And then lo and behold, the supreme legal influence of the government, the Attorney General Anand in his last edition of the issues in the news. I'm going to repeat what he said. You mentioned it. The government is not comfortable with the level of crime and violence in society. And that is no secret. We have repeatedly accepted the fact, and we are assiduously working to address this situation. Well, let's look at the crime. They're talking about serious crime. And here are the serious crimes they're talking about that they're analyzing. 11, murder, robbery where guns are used, robbery other instruments, robbery with aggravation, robbery with violence, larceny from the person, break and enter and larceny, rape, kidnapping, wounding, and burglary. Those are the crimes they're talking about. They're not talking about trafficking in person. They're not talking about unlawful possession of arms and ammunition that they found a couple of days ago. Those are not serious crimes. They're not talking about white-collar crimes. They're not talking about money laundering. They're not talking about trafficking in person. They're not talking about gold smuggling. And they're not talking about offenses apart from rape under the Sexual Offences Act. And those 11 crimes over 30 years ago, my commissioner, Larry Lewis, has introduced it, where you used to analyze them on a monthly and a yearly basis. And since then that they're using it, it has remained pristine. It has not changed. Although crime has evolved and criminal activities evolved, they have not changed. They're sticking to this 11 that they had over 3 decades ago. And then looking at what we call the dark figures in crime. Crime that committed but not reported for diverse reasons, including the belief that victims feel that the police will not solve crime. They have confidence in the police. And also the guy we call ghosting, where they falsify the logs to make the figures come out right. To make the figures come out right for them. And I hear enough time they say, hey, let me cut the stats so that we can look good. Don't put in this one, take out this one, as the case may be. And they might have no more than last year. And this year they got one, and they said 100% decrease. Okay? Or they had one last year and they had none this year, so there's 100% decrease in serious crimes. And you can't trust them with the stats. And a book I used to read regularly, Wayne W. Bennett and Karen Hess. It's a book called Management and Supervision in Law Enforcement. Management and Supervision in Law Enforcement, Bennett and Hess. It's available on Amazon. And I urge any police, especially police officers, to get a copy and read it. And here's part what they say. So many people tend to use crime rates, numbers of arrests, and clearance rate to measure how well the police are doing. They suggested that such measures have serious problems. They mentioned that low crime rates doesn't necessarily mean that the police agency is effective and efficient. A higher arrest rate doesn't necessarily show that the police are doing a good job. A high ratio to police officers to citizens does not necessarily mean that high quality policing. Responding quickly to calls for service does not necessarily indicate that a police agency is effective. So what they're doing, they're giving you crime stats, and they're telling you, hey, we had a reduction in crime based on those 11 things. So they say crime is down, and they want to say that the police doing well. They're doing an efficient and effective work. Now, they had Cramer and Fields, 2000. And here what they say. Traditional measures such as uniform crime reports, this is like what they give you. Arrests and ticket tabulation. Remember the traffic chief talking about thousands of tickets they issue. So let me go for traditional measures such as uniform crime reports, arrests and ticket tabulation, and tickets tabulate only events. So all they're doing is tabulating events. They do not measure whether or not the activities were completed efficiently and effectively, and they don't describe what the impact it had on the community. So they say, rather than looking at crime rates, response time, number of arrests, evaluation should assess whether or not the police are failing in their responsibility to the community they swore to serve and protect. Section 3.2 of the Police Act tell you what the police are required to do. And also the public expect the police to behave in a certain way. They expect the police to be honest, to be dedicated, to be reliable, to be hardworking, to be apolitical, to respond to well-founded criticism with a willingness to change. That's what it's so we saying the citizens expect you to perform what is laid down in law and what they expect certain behavior about you. And that is what you have to assess. They're looking at percentage increase and percentage decrease. And what you have to do also is that I have some note here where say most citizens want to live in safe, orderly neighborhood. So Robert Peel, who's called the father of policing, here he said, the police are considered effective when they produce the perception that crime is under control. Reducing the fear of crime is a very important measure. And you have to check on the citizens. If you want to know how well you're doing, go to your customers, go to the citizens, and find out from them. Find out from them how well you're doing. They do what we call citizen surveys, which could measure trend, which could produce negative or positive feedback to you, which could be key to establish communication, which could set organizational goal, which could identify department strengths and weaknesses, and we could identify areas for improvement and training, and which could help for a person to be motivated. So if you want to know how well you're doing, don't give me stats. You have plenty policemen with degrees, with first degrees, with master's degrees. I ain't talking about the one who they're from New Amsterdam, who get a degree from the University of Kanji or the University of Palmyra. Persons with genuine degrees. Use them and let them do citizen survey. Go to the people. Then is when you know whether you're performing well. And look at your mission statement. Look at what you are required to do and whether or not you're doing it. Don't come and tell me you check 11 way cause serious crimes, and then you say there's a reduction, and then you're giving the impression you're painting a picture. The minister said we're doing well. He can say we're doing well. But then the Attorney General say, hey, government is concerned with. So they need to find a better ways to measure their performance, better ways to measure their performance than this nonsense that you come in and give me a 18 point something percent decrease in serious crime when several other crimes, and then you're cocking the figure, you're ghosting, and the dark figures of crime that people don't get confidence in the police. So when crime commits, they ain't going to report nothing to the police, but the crimes are already committed. They need to have a better system of evaluating the performance of the police.
Now, well said, my brother, well said. But you know what they're going to do? They're going to send out the propagandists or the propaganda people to come and to make all sort of things. They're Slow and Conway trying to block up the police force. We are telling you the truth. We are bringing these things we are highlighting these things. We are not saying anything that is wrong, anything that is false. The evidence is there, but they want to come and to do a lot of soap washing and all of these things they're doing. They don't want, if you want to change, the first thing you have to do is to admit that whatever is going on is unsatisfactory. The Attorney General, like Whip Van Winkle, just wake up and decide that government is satisfied with the levels of crime. But that flies in the face of statements recently made by the minister, because if you, as the Minister of Home Affairs and the acting commissioner, the extended squatter, said they have been this, and let me understand, when you talk about a 19%, that's a massive reduction. If you are saying that there's this massive reduction, how come you are dissatisfied? How come? You see, I told you all we did statement analysis. You are fortunate to attend the FBI Academy at separate times. And one of the things that I did was statement analysis. And when you analyze these statements that they're making, you realize how stupid they are. Can't put it no other way. And when we come and we highlight these things, they get their Volkswagenist friend, where he, she, it, or the thing, they come, they're gonna attack these two geriatric. The thing say that maybe we be spending the last our miserable days attacking the police force that give us everything and so on. We have got to highlight. You call them attack, we are highlighting things that are wrong. All the corruption that is now being revealed. All the corruption. We've been talking about it for some time, and they were turning a blind eye on it. They have been turning a blind eye. So now that the thing is unraveling and revealing, they recognize. Now, Cecilia, we come to this investigation. We come to this investigation into this massive financial irregularities uncovered in the Guyana police force. And let me tell you, it didn't start now, it didn't start with this $16.5 million in December. We had highlighted before about all of these hundreds of thousands of dollars in advances for the secretary of the man who was at admin, Brutus. I'm calling the name because the records are there. He could sue again if he wants to. Approved $200,000 on December 24 for his driver, George, to go to some interior location to conduct investigation. Earlier in the same month, December 2020, his secretary, Lois, female, to go to some interior location to conduct investigation. And there's only two I talk about. There were others. And we said then something is wrong. This reeks of corruption. A driver and a female secretary going to Port Kaituma and Orinduke and all those interior locations to conduct investigation. They're not investigators, and even if they were, people are going to question. People are going to question, because I know the system is that if you're going in the interior, and to conduct, to do any duty, you got to go by plane. And nobody's money is given to you. You go and you get the invoice from the airline, and they will draw the check directly to the airline. That is the financial practice. So when you see advance of $200,000 being approved, right away you know something wrong. They had allegations on the East Coast of the same extra duty money. We highlighted, I saw a letter when I was at the Police Service Commission where the ranks wrote to the president President Granger. They copied it several places, including to the Police Service Commission, alleging financial impropriety by the commander. That is there. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. So all these allegations are made. Nothing happened. Even when the $16.5 million allegation was made, what happened? The dance and the dance, the dance and the dance. Until all of a sudden now, like the thing get too overbearing because it's not only laundering money through the police credit union, but then they get big business. Man, establish a company. And its company is supplying stuff to the police force. He established a company. And his company, it is said, it is alleged that his wife too has a company. And she supplies items to the police. It is said, it is alleged that his mother-in-law supplies items to the police. The mother-in-law who was given a police quarter to live in. I know she's still in there because up to 2 weeks ago or so, she was living in a police quarters in a mounted branch compound. She and police are there crying out for living quarters, marriage quarters as they are referred to. They can't get, but the man give a mother-in-law a police quarter to live in. And she lives there with her partner. Now, these things are easily investigated, you know. So it's not Slow and Conway making up anything. You want to tell me that it's not corruption? And I say further, when Calvin Brutus, senior superintendent, in December 2020, moved to the court to challenge the promotion shortlist, he said that the promotion shortlist was leaked to him by a confidential source at the Police Service Commission. Let me repeat that. Calvin Brutus, senior superintendent, as he was then, in 2020, said in an affidavit. In other words, let me explain to you what is an affidavit. An affidavit is a sworn statement. You swear to the Bible, the Quran, the Gita, wherever it is, or if you don't believe in these things, you make your form, right? Your form, that what you're saying there is truth. And the man said that the promotion shortlist was leaked to him by a confidential source at the Police Service Commission. And they moved to court on that. And when on the 28th of June 2021, the Chief Justice ruled in that matter, the Chief Justice said, among other things, that she found Senior Superintendent Calvin Brutus to be self-serving in that he was writing to his rivals to tell them that they were under investigation. Like the court said that, it's not Slow and Conway. And yet still, all of this, court found him to be self-serving, and you ain't doing nothing. You left him there. Self-serving means that you're looking after your own interests. So when the man established business, that was in 2021, you know, that ruling, 2021, the ruling. But then now in 2023, June, I think it was, the man established business. Self-serving, the Chief Justice says so, and y'all did nothing. So what's the big nice about? And you know the sweet part of this thing, the irony of it all. Before I begin, Mr. Conway, the irony of it all. Brutus said that the promotion shortlist, you know, was leaked to him by a confidential source at the Police Service Commission. He used that in his court filings. Now, the documents from the police credit union are leaked. And they're going helter-skelter trying to find out who leaked. They're going helter-skelter. We understand yesterday they arrested 2 persons trying to find out is who leaking this information on social media. That's what they're doing. They're trying to find out. They're not interested in the substance that this man attempted or actually deposit $16.5 million. They're not looking for that. But, you know, they do. And I understand, CC. I understand that since the early days when they said this investigation started, I understand they're doing all sort of things to tamper with the evidence. They are committing further crimes. They are committing further crimes to make sure that this evidence is buried. Books are being destroyed. Pages have been taken out of books and all of that. That is what is going on. They're trying to pervert the course of justice, which in itself is an offense. Which is itself. But let me see where it go. Let me bring Mr. Conway and then we go come back to this same thing. This thing here can't done. See, you comment on what I have said so far, my brother. Expand or let me hear your take on this.
Well, you mentioned, because they were early warnings. They were early warnings. And not only on the East Coast, that issues in Barbies where large accounts for thousands and thousands of dollars were submitted fraudulent account for, what? Cleaning police lockups at the station. Cleaning police lockups at the station. Large among thousands and thousands of dollars. It moved from Barbies to go East Coast. And then it finally settled down. And the Chief Justice didn't have to look, crystal ball, because she had the evidence, as you mentioned, to show, hey, that Brutus is self-serving. That means so. Chief Justice says so, and she put it in black and white. She put it in writing. They didn't take no warning. Perhaps he had secret for other people. Maybe people were complicit, So they didn't look at the early warnings. And then they say, Soko is investigating. I'm going to go more upon it there. But if you're investigating, first thing you do is you go and seize the books. You seize the document, you lock down the place. It's all places they seal the safe. But no, nobody ain't doing nothing. Something leak out now. And people saying, I get in the keys. Nobody can go in any place anymore. I'm controlling the keys and all that. And the same person who they move from the police, from the public service credit union and implant at the credit union to do the biddings. But I'm surprised that if Soko had started the investigation, why not seize the books? Or they must only seize in 100 million if they seize any at all, because they said they find many, they said they'll lodge anything anyway. And now apart from the finance, I just lodge anything at the bank again, seal up if it's 100 million, that you really, it's above the mind. We're really getting on, or let's say it's just cover up, or they're giving people opportunity to pervert the course of justice. So many things happening, like they open a can of worm. But Paul, we've been talking for months about this credit union. Them ain't doing nothing. Them ain't doing anything. No, they're hustling. Now they're hustling. Anyway, over back to you.
Now, let me say this. On the 13th of this month, I made a post on social media. Y'all can go and check. July 13th. It is entitled Investigation 101. I said the first thing you have to do is to secure all documents and electronic devices like computers, phones, iPads, etc. Several copies must be made and kept at separate, secure locations. Then I said suspicious fires and other acts of sabotage have been known to occur when investigations into certain criminal activities are imminent. All for your information and guidance. More to come. Continue to watch this piece. That was on the 13th of July this year. And to air yesterday, July the 25th, they got a meeting where the manager is alleged to have been berating persons for giving out information. Look what information to give out. This is the information on the ledger where what we circled there, $15 million and $1.5 million. All the information is there. $15 million and $1.5 million in respect to the same transaction. So they are sitting over tear out, but you get the ledger that is there. So if you tear out the receipt and all that, the ledger is there. And they're licking up people because this is leaked from the thing. But how come this remain at the credit union? One would have thought that if you were doing a proper investigation, as Mr. Conway indicated, as I wrote on the 13th of July this year, the first thing you would have gone, I think this thing is around the 11th to talk about this investigation. You move in there immediately and you seize all the documents. Everything got to seize. Books, new books have to be open to continue transaction. You got to seize these things. You got to seize them. That is how investigations are done. Because when you come to court, you got to carry the original documents. The passbook, which I understand disappeared. But the passbook is disappeared. The passbook is the book for the individual with all the various transactions. That disappeared. But you got a ledger, you have other supporting documents, you have the people who are there who can give evidence as to what actually transpired. So I cannot understand, as we said, how you're going to conduct a proper investigation. And you can start out by doing that. The diary, the ledgers, and all the other books you have there, you have got to take control of those things. And I've said in many cases, you have to have several copies stored in several secure locations, because fire will start. Suddenly, mysterious fire, when an investigation is imminent, fire will start. But so therefore, that's one of the reasons that brings me to the point where I do not have any confidence that SOCU, the Special Organized Crime Unit, headed by an Assistant Commissioner of Police, can properly and professionally investigate this matter, which identifies where assistant commissioner, a fellow assistant commissioner is the target. And if we are to go by what is there, let me remind you that when, I get the exact date, but when this thing broke, listen to what the acting commissioner said. You got to play this thing so you could understand, you know. Listen to what the acting commissioner...
Guyana's acting commissioner of police Clifton Hicken today laid to rest claims that his deputy commissioner of police acting Calvin Brutus is on the investigation by the Special Organized Crime Unit. Hicken spoke with reporters on the sidelines of the first legal conference on criminal justice reform at the Marriott Hotel in Georgetown.
It's about Mr. Brutus and the multi-million dollar deposits. Is it true or not?
No, it's not true. And I made a release already through our system.
You didn't see that?
Yeah, I made a release. It's in the system. There was no investigation going on whatsoever.
And no deposits?
Nothing whatsoever. You know.
Okay, thank you.
Brutus, who served as the force admin officer, was transferred to Special Branch, while Deputy Commissioner Ravindradat Buduram is now in charge of administration, while the head of the Special Branch, Assistant Commissioner Errol Watts, is now in charge of operations. In a statement from the police, it said that the move is part of the modernization plan for the Guyana Police Force.
No deposit was made, no investigation going on. The transfers were part of a modernization plan of the Guyana Police Force. And the very next day, it was revealed that what he said, according to Dennis Chabral, what he said, he made a mistake. He made no mistake. He lied. That's so he being politically.
Hey, there walk, right? And Carl, you just know.
Sorry about that. Yeah, he didn't make any mistake, Dennis. He came and he lied. And I said, based on what is being revealed, that when this transaction took place in December 2023, this $16.5 million, the money was actually accepted, entered into the records. And then when the person who was in charge, that person wasn't there at the time, when the person came back and recognized what took place, Paul said, no, this thing can't go, so this is against the rules and the regulation. And the money was then returned to Brutus. It was returned. The information is, the allegation is that very shortly thereafter, Iken, the acting commissioner, the extended squatter, called the people to his office, those who sent back the money to his office, and he berated them. As we say in police language, he bucked them up and abused them. That is what the allegation is. And then they were transferred from the police credit union. Those things are easily verifiable. Easily verifiable. You don't have to be a Sherlock Holmes or Poirot or one of those top detectives to discover. The ranks were transferred. Why were they transferred? And I am saying, I have said before, that if that is true, if the ranks returned the money because they recognized it was improper, amounted to money laundering, The acting commissioner got involved shortly thereafter, berated the ranks, and caused them to be transferred. Because even if he had doing himself, he is the commissioner. And if he recognized that they were transferred when they should not, he should have reversed it. He did not do that. He is complicit, and he should be a target of the investigation. So when they talk about Soku investigating, and then I see, well, of course, the Jiacheng Chamber of Commerce and Industry quite rightly said that it should be an independent investigation. Independent investigation. And they suggested some people who should be in the thing. The Alliance for Change, the leader said independent investigation. The leader for the PNC, independent investigation. Right? And then this body, the private sector, came out and said they see nothing wrong with Soku doing the investigation. But then the same private sector man telling us that Soku is an independent agency. I want to know where he come from, which rock he crawled out from. Soku is not an independent agency. Soku is a branch of the Guyana Police Force. The ranks there in the main are ranks from the Guyana Police Force. They are transferred to this branch called Special Organized Crime Unit. From time to time, I know they have civilian people who work there, legal people. In other words, remember some time ago, you had the Englishman Sittleton who came and he was advising them on some of these financial crimes and so on. So for him to say that Soku is an independent body, he wrong, and right away it renders him incapable of commenting on this matter because he shows his bias or his lack of knowledge of what is going on. And then I saw the Region 3 Private Sector Inc. Today's paper, folks, today's Stabrook News. They came out too to say that they support, what they say, Region 3 Private Sector Inc. supports the Guyana Police Force and Soku to investigate allegations of corruption in the Guyana Police Force. That is the caption. And it is signed by one Halim Khan, Head Region 3 Private Sector Inc. Halim Khan signs that document. And I want to know if it's the same Halim Khan. I don't know. I'm asking. If it's the same Halim Khan who was named as a major co-conspirator in the Thomas Carroll affair. I was doing research. Thomas Carroll affair, for the younger ones who don't know, Thomas Carroll was an officer at the U.S. Embassy in Guyana in the early 2000s. And he got embroiled in a big scandal. Big scandal. They got a headline there, I pull up, said Thomas Carroll affair. U.S. Embassy official sold 25 visas per week for 8,000 US a piece. Hear what the thing says. It's not slow saying, sir. Thomas Carroll affair. There's a book on it by David Casavis. And it says Thomas Carroll, a U.S. official, U.S. Embassy official in Guyana, sold 25 visas per week for 8,000 a visa. And this a name similar to this name, Halim Khan, came up in that investigation as a co-conspirator because they said Carroll was using the black clothes people as enforcement to get the money. So if you get the visa and you come up with the 8,000 US, you used to use members of the police force, black clothes, as enforcers and all of that. So I want to know if it's the same person who is now writing on behalf of the Region 3 Private Sector Inc. Can it be the same person? I don't know. I'm asking. And I'm telling you, students, you have got to do the research. Come and see these people come as reformists and they come and they tell you all this other thing. Deep, and to find out what is going on. But I'm saying that again, Soku is not competent, is not capable of conducting an investigation of this nature, because this investigation we're talking about here is not only the $16.5 million. They are saying the allegation is that people get bank account with hundreds of millions of dollars, including the wife of one of the suspects. Hundreds of millions of dollars. They are saying too that they found over $100 million in cash in the man office, and the man says hard work, hard money. All of those things got to be investigated. All of those things should be investigated. And before I before I bring in Mr. Conway, last night again, more revelation. Chandel, you name calling. That Chandel supply fish for the police during 2003. Fish. She supply fish. I don't know what type, if it's banga, if it's snapper, if it's scaly, if it's airy. I don't know what, but they said she supply fish to 3 messes in the police force. Breakdown mess, TSU mess, and the academy mess. $60-something million. $60-something million in fish over a short period of time. And they said she was arrested by SOCU as part of this investigation. And she said that the business, all of the business registration she named is not she is somebody else's business. And they say that Chandel, the fish lady, is the relative of a minister of the government. Body, this thing stink, big stink, deep, dirty. And again, I say, SOCU cannot be expected to investigate because this thing might point back right into people in SOCU. Who knows? Who knows? People in SOCU might very well be involved. So how can you put cat to watch milk? This thing requires an independent investigation. I saw some Caribbean newspaper quoting me this morning as saying that since the government claims that they have such a good relationship with the U.S., maybe they can invite the U.S. to allow FBI to come and investigate. They are said to have a good relationship with the United Kingdom, so therefore let Scotland Yard come and investigate. If you want, you can have the Royal Canadian Mounted Police come and investigate. Not RAS, not the RASS, because they came and they did a lot of crap in the allegation in the paper shards murder, where they came to oversee some investigation when Boscombe alleged that $30 million was paid to the head of the major crime unit of the Guyana Police Force to cover up the murder. That is what the allegation is. They came and they said they made some report which was never made public. The Home Affairs Minister, or the Home Affairs Ministry, said, give us a kind of a synopsis of the report, and said that the people said that the investigation was being properly conducted and the Guyana Police Force was capable of conducting a proper investigation, even though they never spoke to the person who made the allegation. So we have no confidence in them. Have none. So I'm saying that this investigation, when you see all the revelations now, a man tell me this morning, he said, Chief, I working at a certain place for a long time now, and I never eat fish yet. I never eat fish. And $60-something million, Chandel submitted $60-something million in fish to these 3 messes over a short period of time. And no, don't forget, let me, what if I have this one here? I think I got a tape here. Hold on. Don't forget this one, Don't, hold on, wait, it is. Hold on, do I have it here? I don't think I have it here. I'm going to try and find it and show you all them enough items. All them items. And you want to know what those items are about, right? Do I have it? I'm looking to see if I get it. No, I don't have it here now. I might have taken it off of the platform. But I'm going to look for it to show you, if not now, at some other time. Items galore, pack up. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, then I can come back. See?
By they're really fishing up, buddy. $60-something million worth in fish. Chandel got to get a whole lot of fish there, boy. And then, when you look at the thing seriously, investigation, SOCU, Assistant Commissioner Karen Bash. It'd be interesting. Send for Hicken, because Hicken is active player in this thing, and put him for sit down and interrogate him, or if possible, put him under close arrest. The thing is comical that the assistant commissioner would have to interrogate the acting commissioner over allegation, and we say that SOCU doesn't have that quality of investigators. They don't have fraud investigators. I repeat over and over again, all Suku matters finishing at no case submission. Yeah? And Karimba sending for Brutus and put Brutus to sit down and interrogate him. And we say over and over again, broaden the thing. It's not only the police credit union. It's what happened, and I repeat what happened with the quartermaster stores. What happened with the police finance office? The minister said over $300 million fraud. What happened? The suppliers, they paying any tax? Who supply the breakdown mess? The college mess? The TSU mess? The SC headquarters mess? We're talking about investigation. Guns disappear. Scores of guns disappear. The audit and inspection team started the investigation. My information is the investigation started to point in a certain direction, certain people, vicarious liability. They take it away from the audit and inspection and they give Suku, go and visit one time and it done there. We talking about the allegation of 1.5 million for firearm. We be talking about firearm runnings, multi-million-dollar runnings. Shift Chandra Paul Drive, Young Street, a doctor who is critical, a doctor in Lamaha Street, a house in Robb Street, a building northwest of Brickdown police stations. All those things we've been talking over and over again. Suku can't do them kind of investigation, no? And we're talking about firearm approval being given and nothing ain't getting to the firearm board. This same government appointed, established a firearm board. Very few go in there. 1.5 and others, and you go headquarters and collect a little. Some people understand even do no investigation, they ain't gonna file upon them, but they get letters. How can you have Suku? And we're hearing so much about Suku. We're hearing but people get trucking service. And we're hearing that, hey, people say, hey, this money is for fuel for Suku. I said allegation, I can't prove nothing. I say allegations, this money for Suku for fuel, but they go into the trucking service. And so this thing is so widespread, and if you put in Suku, maybe you put in cat to watch milk, and when you put cat to watch milk, you can get catastrophe, Paul.
When you put cat to watch milk, you get catastrophe. But let me tell you this, I saw a picture of this same the person who is supposed to be this fish supplier, the Chandel. Somebody post something on social media. Social media is a wonderful place, wonderful place. They post something on social. She's in a black thing there. A fine lady, a fine woman. For a fine woman, she got a lot of fish to sell. $62 million worth of fish. For a fine woman, you go up on social media and Google the thing. Now, but you take them down right now. A lot of fish. And let me say this. Let me say this, my brother. They're saying Suku investigating. Suku is an inanimate thing. It's an organization. Who in Suku doing the investigation? That is what you need to tell us. Suku, as we said, is headed by an assistant commissioner. Karimbash is the head of Suku. Is he personally doing this investigation? Or is it being done by some other office? I don't know what the other ranks are, but I know they got some comebackies there. People who retire with little or no investigative knowledge or experience, and they are at Suku. People don't know police, RV, for example. RV is there. RV don't know police. RV used to be at construction dealing with accounts and all these everything. He at Suku, perhaps he's an investigator at Suku. Because in that matter against us, conspiracy to commit fraud, he gave evidence as an investigator from Soku. So who in Soku investigating the matter? We continue to say Soku, Soku, Soku. But who are the individuals? Who is the individual? Who are the individuals that actually doing the interviews, actually doing the investigation? Tell us who those persons are. That is what we want to know. And you know, let me say this. As part of this investigation, I wrote something here on the 13th of July on social media. I said, let me say what I believe is a conflict of interest. A senior police officer and his wife registered 2 separate companies. Those companies are alleged to be supplying goods and services to the organization that the officer holds a senior position in. As a matter of fact, he is the person responsible in the organization for payments. It therefore follows that he has to approve sign-off invoices submitted by the company owned by himself and wife. That should be part of the investigation. It is also alleged that the wife's mother, the officer's mother-in-law, is also a supplier of goods to the organization. Then I said over to the Guyana Revenue Authority, the Auditor General, other more relevant authorities, more revelations to come. Again, I say, and we say again, this thing cannot be limited to Soku. This thing is too far-reaching, and it might point right back to people in Soku as being complicit or being involved. Because one of the things that struck me as extremely strange is that you started an investigation into financial impropriety, and you seize the books, you seize the computer records. So right away, I believe that this thing is designed to have an outcome that is favorable to the person who is being investigated. So how do you conduct an investigation? I mean, you get some old detectives on this thing, like Smithy, some senior experienced policemen, like Ulrich and these guys. Y'all tell me how you going to conduct an investigation into financial irregularities and you enforce Abalgo and Olan and the books. Tell me, please. So right away, there is it seems to be some amount of complicity in this whole thing. And therefore, I maintain that Soku cannot be relied on to conduct a credible investigation. And I say again, if with regards to that tape that I played earlier, with Ikin denying that monies were large, denying publicly that an investigation was ongoing, denying these things, and the very next day he's proved to be lying, he should be sent on leave. I know nobody don't be sent on leave now. You got to ask to go on leave. Daimler wasn't sent. You have to ask to go. The PS, I think she asked to go. Brutus asked to go. So the president don't send nobody on leave for this investigation. So maybe he should request to go on leave. And let me tell you this, Porter. Roshan Khan, RG Roshan Khan from the RAW. Roshan Khan from the RAW, who cannot be said to be anti-police nor anti-government. He has called on Ikin to go home. He said, so all these people, the thing, and all them will come with the propaganda and saying that people envy us. I can deal with that another time. Amar wrote to say people envious of Ikin. Envious of what? What is there to envy? I ain't got enough time. We ain't got enough time to deal with that. But I'm going to that. I'm not allowing these things to pass. We will not allow these things to pass. Roshan Khan said on his program recently that money is $1.5 million for a firearm license. He said that he wanted 2 AR-type rifles, but because of the cost associated with that, $1.5 million each, can't go there. And then he mentioned that other companies getting multiple. I think he mentioned 20 and something. I can't remember the exact figure, but it is there. Roshan can mention guns. So imagine that if you have to pay $1.5 million, a company getting 20-something gun. You see why they could find $100 and something million in a man office. You see why it can be said that one man get multiple accounts with hundreds of millions of dollars inside. And the question therefore is asked, if this is so, all this part of the investigation. Because if a person has an account with all them hundreds of million dollars inside, what happened to the banking system? What happened to the financial intelligence unit? They are not aware that there are these suspicious transactions. Recall back in 2015, I think it was, the permanent secretary of the office of the president. The permanent secretary of the office of the president. And let me remind you, the office of the president, the president then was at one time Donald Ramatar, and before Donald Ramatar was Bar Jagdew. The permanent secretary had an account with over $1 billion Guyana dollars in it. And when he was questioned, he said he sells phone card business. So y'all knocking Chandel fishing business for 62 million. The man phone card business had over $1 billion Guyana dollars inside. The system is, something is wrong with the system. Recall not so long ago, well, not some time ago, the late Assistant Commissioner Green, when he died, it is alleged that one of his accounts had over 300 million Guyana dollars. What is happening in the system? Poor me, with me couple $1,000 in my thing there, and they want me pay all sort of money and all sort of thing. Poor honest me. And what happens? Again, I say this thing required a big, wider investigation, because if it is that there are accounts with hundreds of millions of dollars in it, then it's not only SOCU to investigate, it's not only the police you have to investigate, you have to investigate the whole system. How can the banking system not be aware that of these suspicious transactions? How can? Man buying property all over the place. Somebody must be able to say something, investigate. It is said that the man bought a property at 5th and Albert Street for $50-something million cash. That is what I said. Had it demolished, and the day of the demolition, scores of police had to go for black traffic and all of that. Had it demolished with a view to putting up other buildings there. It is rumored that the man has other properties, Eccles, Diamond, Arlington, and the East Coast. Where did all this money come from? And this thing, nobody alerted to the fact that something is wrong? Where can a police officer and his government salary accumulate all this money in such a short time? Because I understand all these things were accumulated between 2020 and now. Where can it be? Where can it be from if it's not downright corruption? Roshan said $1.5 million. And he called and he said Ikin should go home. He said Ikin has passed his retirement age, which we all know. We don't know by how much. We don't know by how much he has passed, but we know that he has passed his retirement age. And Roshan Khan, from the Raw, said that Ikin should go home, should retire. But he should be sent home. He should be made to go in light of this. In light of this, but even without, I'm not going to tell you about the presumption of innocence and all that, Nonetheless, they like to talk about that. In the Darnell case, they tell you about a presumption of innocence. The president too say presumption of innocence. So you're innocent until proven guilty. But I don't operate for everyone. They should tell the same extended squatter Ikin of that presumption, because he did not give that presumption of innocence to the people who are there, who are involved, who are alleged to be involved in the Quindon Bacchus killing. So on the day Damian McLennan and those other two guys appeared in court, Ikin dismissed them from the same day. The 3 young policemen in Barbies with that firearm story, he dismissed them without every presumption of it. As a matter of fact, they weren't even charged for anything, dismissed. So why should he enjoy the presumption of innocence when such a big thing happening under him? He should be made to go. And before I hand over to Mr. Conway, let me say this. I have said, I pride myself with good memory, thank the Lord, and others remember this thing. All the assistants, all the commissioners who were made to stay beyond the retirement date, it didn't end well. In my time, it started with Commissioner Ragabir. He was embroiled in a scandal, and he had to demit office in 1990 for Larry Lewis to take over. Larry Lewis was there, extended for 2 years, and then extended for 5 years in total. And then Debbie Bakker, the member of parliament, had to decide she was moving to the court, because the law doesn't allow for you to remain there after 60, and then he ducked out. They had McDonald after Lewis. McDonald presided over the most dangerous and murderous part of the history of the Ghana police force, where 20-something policemen were killed in the line of duty. That's McDonald. After McDonald, the extension Green. They didn't extend Felix. Felix left when his time came. Green was extended, and they extended Green so that I couldn't get the work. They extended Green so that I could not be promoted. And I was glad to leave when I left. And what happened? Green got embroiled in a rape scandal and had to leave office unceremoniously. Green handed over to Brummel. Brummel's worked beyond his retirement age, and he too left in some type of shame. Adam Harris had a story, said he's the only man to cry when he get the work and cry when he left the work. Because when he got the work, he was so emotional that he shed a few tears. And then when President Ramatara called him to tell him about, he thought he was been extended. And then President Ramatara tell him he must hand over and go home. And he cried again. Right? That is what Adam Harris wrote, journalist Adam Harris wrote. So the extensions don't end well, and it looked like it's ending well with this one too, because after Brummel, it was Silal Prasad who left when he went. He should have gone before. I recommended that he should have been sent home before. And after Silal Prasad, it was Leslie James who came off when he was to come off. And then now we have acting. Can Nigel Happy been there performing the functions? So they use it for 2 years and plus, and then tell you go your way and give some work to sit down somewhere there now. And now you get Ikin, who cut, dig dirt under Happy. Did all sort of thing to undermine Happy. All sort of thing. Did his own promotions and all sort of thing. And Happy was so weak that those things were allowed to go through. So now we come. Karma is a bitch. Karma is a bitch. God don't sleep. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. CC, I have said a mouthful. I'm sure you want to get your say now too.
Plenty.
As we close, I'll be moving into closing time. Go ahead.
Plenty. And I remember Brummel, you know, when Ramatara extended him and somebody go with some document and the man sent for Brummel. And tell Brummel, and Brummel was happy. He went to, and the man said, Commissioner tell you going to extend you? He said, yes. And the president looking up in the roof. And he said, I said, I'm going to extend you, but I change, huh? So, he's still looking up in the roof. Before the end of the month, and over to Silal Prasad, and he's still looking at the roof. And Brummel sprang to attention, saluted him, and left the office. But coming back to the same investigation, Paul, up to now, if there's a Soko investigating, I think very early, they have not yet contacted that female who said she was called by Brutus, and he pulled his drawer and take out 2 scandal bags with $16.5 million and give it to her. And up to now, they have not called that one who wrote the receipt for the money. So what really Suku doing? I don't know, they're waiting for things to happen. And you mentioned how poor people could get so much money in the bank account and there are no red flags. I can recall, you know, when I was working with a sort, yeah, there's it there. The person who signed a receipt didn't talk to she yet. They haven't called she and tell she nothing yet. Or they must expect for she going to disappear. You know? And I recall when I was working with a certain company and then the contract came to an end and they paid me my termination benefits. And I went to the bank. I was a couple of $1 million, praise the Lord. And the bank said before they accept the money, was no 100 million and everything, you know, a couple of $1 million. They say I got to get a paper from the company saying how I get this money under what circumstances. But I had preempted them and I'd taken along the document, and that's how they accepted the money. Now you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. People get a no red flag. What are financial people doing? Or is animal farm at play? So, and I might sound monotonous, but we're saying Suku cannot do the investigation, and they got to broaden it They gotta broaden it for some of the areas that we mentioned. They gotta broaden it, and we saying overseas people must come. Persons with the competence, persons with the know-how must come and do it. Well, I don't. Unless they just want to push it under the carpet, but it can't go under the carpet because we gonna stay upon it. And if we gotta repeat it over and over again, we will do that until finality. It must be done. The police government get shake up. It's not our desire. I feel bad when I hear bad things about the police. But if bad things happen, we must take corrective measures. And one of the corrective measures is proper investigation got to be done. And Paul, I know tomorrow is your birthday. And I was looking out, I'm not going to wish you a happy birthday because I'm looking out and I ain't see no thing went out. Like out when was the squatter birthday that the officers had to pay $25,000, the inspectors $20,000, and the SO in charge of station $15,000. I ain't see no requests coming out for your birthday. But I know you, and I know you well, and I know you would be well rewarded, and you, even in terms of just your wishes. But I'm not going to wish you happy birthday as a close out.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Yes, well, the good Lord has paid me so far. When I see the day yet, no one knows. Tomorrow is promised to no one. But thankfully, I'm enjoying good health, good spirit too, despite how what they're doing. Yeah, read Melly Mel got something today about the conspiracy that they had with me. We can deal with that Monday maybe. But yeah, read it for yourself. Student, there's your homework. And in honor, let me tell you all this. Perhaps in honor of my birthday tomorrow, a message has been sent to all the police stations for there to be a national cleanup campaign. So police got to turn out tomorrow at various assembly points to clean up. I saw the copy of the message. That is why for how we know these things. So a message has been circulated to the police ranks around all the who in actual duty to turn out to clean up. So perhaps that is in honor of my birthday tomorrow. They are doing that. But these people are so unreasonable. You work all week. You get family. You get other things to do. Women want to wash the little clothes. Chandel want to sell she fish. And what are you doing? You got to go and clean up the place. Policemen have to go and clean up. That is what is going on. I guess the GDF are going to be involved in that too. And these are the people who telling you that they're paying part-time workers. This is so unreasonable and so unfair. And as the people said in the message, that if you don't go, they also will charge you for us other offense and victimize you as well. That is where you live. When you talk about morale, that is why the morale is so low. Apart from the thieving that is taking place in senior levels, these type of thing impacts on the effectiveness and the morale of rank. You work all week. Saturday you want to go in your market to buy your little thing. You want to do or you just want to relax. You just want to spend some quality time with your family, and then they're bullying you to go and clean shit and all sort of thing from around the place. That is what the police force has become. That is what the police force has become. And as CC said, we are not going to let up on this investigation because the thing has to be credible. And the credibility, the credible nature should be in the interest of the government. The government should want a credible investigation. But apparently, they are afraid because it might point to them. Because in the Fish Lady Chandel thing, they're saying that is a minister family. Even I did this on Monday. Because even yesterday, Barra Jagdio talking about procurement, malpractices and all that. He suddenly wake up to, they had Mayor Thomas right in the office of the Ministry of Home Affairs. And it's the U.S. Treasury Department that will tell you she involved in corruption with visa and gun and contract and gun license and all that thing. Right under the nose of Robeson-Ben. Right under Robeson-Ben's nose. All this corruption going on. But we have a lot more to talk about. Today, time has quickly catch up with us. I want to say this as I close. Many persons have expressed birthday greetings and so on. Advanced birthday greetings is tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow I'll be observing my birthday in a very quiet, relaxed way. As usual, I thank you for the sentiments, and continue to pray and continue to wish me well, because I ain't going no place. I'm gonna remain to highlight all of these things. I remain to educate people on what is going on. God, I thank the Lord for allowing me to see the day before, and I pray that He will allow me to see many, many, many more. Because as I've said, I want to live to a nice, ripe old age, to sit back and see when karma catch up with all of these wicked, stink, and vindictive people, how they end up like Shadow. You know, that Shadow, they're like Jacob. I want to see them walk and shake up like Jacob. Shadow sing the song. They tell me don't walk with Jacob because Jacob does walk and shake up. Nah. That is me. I want to sit back and see them walk like Jacob, walk and shake up like Jacob. So thank you for folks. And until, as I've indicated, today was a special day, makeup day program, and I saw we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. I did not expect this many, because I say it's Friday, not a regular day. But I thank you for your attendance. I thank you for your attention. And God willing, God's spare life, Monday, we're going to be here to bring you a next episode of Speaking Out, exposing corruption and incompetence. Until then, have a good day. Have a good weekend. Bye.